Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Thanks to Supervettura, today I'm bringing you an in-depth tour of the legendary Porsche Carrera GT here in basalt black. With production beginning in 2003, the rear-wheel drive Carrera GT was conceived to push the limits of manufacturing and performance by introducing race-level technology to a road car. It takes inspiration from the classic 718 RS Spider, which is seen most prominently in the front lights and rear engine bulges. Constructed from a full carbon-reinforced plastic monocoque with carbon panels and aluminium, it comes in with a curb weight of 1380 kilograms. Porsche originally planned to create 1,500 GTs, but when manufacturing ceased in 2006, only 1270 had been built due to alterations in manufacturing and safety regulations. The rear mid-engine GT is powered by a naturally aspirated, specially water-cooled 5.7-litre V10, topped with aluminium cylinder heads, an intake system and supported by carbon struts. It produces 605 brake horsepower and 435 pound-feet of torque. This output results in a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time of between 3.5 to 3.9 seconds and a top speed of 205 mph. At the rear sits the famous stainless steel dual exit exhaust that unfortunately wasn't able to get an audio clip of here. It's surrounded by gloss carbon inlays. The distinctive, center-locking forged magnesium lightweight wheels are 19-inch at the front and 20 at the rear, with carbon ceramic silicon carbide brakes. The front is very reminiscent of its 718 RS basis, with the sloping lights and bonnet. The side vents of the gaping mouth are intakes for the radiators, with carbon surrounding the central intake. The 718 RS-esque bi-xenon lights are above, with daylight running strips below. A light strip at the rear of the front panels is for the hazard lights and indication. Further along the side we find the ovular wing mirrors that jut out from the side, that are supported by V-shaped struts. Airflow is channeled from the front side intakes, through the wheel arch and then out the rear slats, finally making its way along the car to the awaiting engine cooling intakes behind. Moving along the car further, we see there is quite a large ridge created at the top of the door, with the key port and door release under. Moving up we see the removable roof that detaches in two pieces and can be stored in the front boot. Behind there is a short brake strip with Porsche text, and under that the rear port window. Looking along the rear panels we see extra ventilation inlets for the engine bay. The rear wing can be deployed or retracted manually using the button in the central column, or will automatically deploy at 70 mph. It features a small brake light strip and is supported by two carbon pillars. Below, the rear lights are flat and wide with a dimpled effect. Under this is the gloss carbon diffuser. The key is simple with buttons to lock and unlock. The door handle is concealed under the ridge, so to open, simply locate and pull out. The door itself is actually quite thick. The interior is a melee of gloss carbon, ascot brown leather and aluminium. Before we go into more detail, I will take you on a short POV tour of the interior. In more detail, let's take a look at the doors. They start with an ascot leather strip that runs from the back to the front with an armrest, leather pad, an aluminium support structure and door release to the end. Below is the door storage compartment and exterior mirror controls to the end. I personally found ingress and egress quite difficult in this car. The sill is quite wide and the bucket seats are low. However, I really like the gloss carbon sill that travels from one side of the opening to the other. It is topped with an aluminium Carrera GT sill plaque. The driver's footwell includes the aluminium pedals with the footrest and minimalistic mat without any carpets, all in the name of weight saving. The gloss carbon monocoque and panels are visible throughout the entirety of the interior, reflecting the car's racing credentials. To the left of the steering wheel is the first air vent, key port and exterior lighting controls. The vent has quite restricted vertical motion. The steering wheel is quite large and features ascot brown and black leather. Staying with Porsche tradition, it is simplistic in its design and aims to be used purely for driving rather than being covered in buttons like some other manufacturers. The ignition felt quite stiff. In typical Porsche fashion, the driver has multiple dials. The dials ahead are for oil temperature, analog and digital speedo, the rev counter with digital trip information, water temp, fuel level and engine pressure. The trip here has quite limited information, but nevertheless it is accessed by utilising the stalk to the left of the wheel, up and down for scroll and in and out for select or return. Moving along, at the top of the central column is the Porsche radio system, with the search button on the right, volume to the left and a small black on-off button behind that. Further down is the hazard light switch sitting solitary. Behind this are three buttons, from left to right to turn the traction control off, manually raise or lower the rear wing and internal lock. The GT comes with a 6-speed manual transmission as the only option. The stick here is topped with beechwood, but can also come in carbon fibre. This plays homage to the sticks found in the 917 race cars. The GT is fitted with a notably temperamental and expensive race-style ceramic composite clutch. Below are buttons for the electric window operation and finally air temperature and ventilation knobs. I found the lightweight carbon bucket seats quite hard to get into. I was wearing a coat, but they felt quite tight. You can definitely feel them supporting you. They come with standard seat belts and can be slid forward or back using the mechanism underneath. Between the seats is a small port window that actually provides relatively good rear visibility as it isn't obscured by the engine bay as in most rear engine performance cars. Let's take a look at the GT storage facilities. There's a small compartment at the base of the central column and an illuminated glove compartment on the passenger side. The buttons to access front and rear compartments are found to the left of the driver's seat here, at the base of the handbrake. A simple pull will create the desired result. The front boot has a capacity of 76 litres empty and is currently storing the car cover. Without it, there's quite a significant improvement in storage capacity. On either side there are brown leather straps that are designed to fasten the roof segments in place during storage. Unfortunately, when stowed here, there is practically zero remaining space. There is also a tool used to remove or fasten the wheels. Back to the inside, we can take a quick look at the passenger footwell and the ascot leather, slim, non-illuminated sun visors above and central reading lights. The roof segments are quilted and can be removed by unlatching the latches on either side. So that concludes my tour of this Porsche Carrera GT that, at the time of publishing, is currently for sale at Supervettura. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, cheers.